Jeanelle Teves, thank you for joining me.
Thank you so much for having me, Bora. I'm so excited to be here.
Janelle, before we dive into your work at Bugaboo, I'm curious about your journey. You spent nearly a decade at Nike before making this transition. What sparked that move from the athletic world to the parenting space?
Yes, let's start there. So, I have had an incredible experience working with some of the world's top brands. As you mentioned, I spent almost 10 years at Nike and global leader in footwear and apparel. And I love the world of sport. I loved working adjacent to some of the world's best athletes, world class managers. In 2020, my world changed like so many other people. I discovered that I was expecting my son. And I really took that moment to reflect on, okay, how am I spending my time? What is most important to me? And this opportunity to join Bugaboo came. And even though I had never thought that I would leave the sports industry, I was so connected in with this consumer because I was her, I was the new mother, that I felt, okay, if I'm to change industries, change spaces, what better way than to serve new mothers, new parents? We talked a lot about the consumer at the center of everything that we did. And at Nike, that was the athlete. And now here at Bugaboo, every day I wake up and think about how to connect with new parents across North America. And it's been an amazing fit professionally and personally. I've been here for 4 years now.
I know Bugaboo has quite the origin story, really disrupting the stroller market when it launched. Could you share a bit about how the brand got started and how it became such an iconic name in the premium parenting space?
Sure. So Bugaboo, we just celebrated our 25th anniversary. So an incredible brand with so much legacy. Our origins are Dutch. So our founder, Max, was from the Netherlands and he was a design student. And Bugaboo is really the category creator in stroller innovation. So we now offer several different categories and products that serve parents. So for example, we have a playpen, we have an incredible high chair. We've partnered with Nuna to bring a car seat to the market, but we are best known for our iconic strollers. And through the years, over the last 25 years, we've introduced new innovations. And if you are a Bugaboo parent, you can probably think about the one that helped you during those first early years of parenthood. But most recently, within just the last 5 years, Bugaboo has really grown to become one of the fastest growing stroller brands in North America. So, really expanding beyond our Dutch and European roots and really taking flight here in the US and Canada. Especially within our newest category. So, an example of this is the Bugaboo Butterfly, which has become the #1 premium ultra compact stroller, meaning it's the one that you can travel with. It's the one that I fly with. You could bring it on an airplane. And so it's amazing to see how many different designs have been brought to life over the last 25 years up until 2025 this year.
Janelle, the brand had an incredible moment on Sex and the City that really changed everything. Can you talk about that pivotal cultural moment and how it shaped Bugaboo's trajectory in the US market?
Yeah, that was really the launching point here in the US. Of course, at that time, Sex and the City was a cultural phenomenon, and any brand that was on that show was immediately exploded. And there's this type of iconic scene when Miranda is sitting in the park with Carrie, and it's just an incredible shot of the frog. And it was a big moment for the brand. It's still very much part of our brand association. What I'm seeing though is even though we had that Sex in the City spot, as we talk about resonance and cultural relevance today in 2025, it's much more fragmented. It's not one show or one partnership or one celebrity or one ambassador. It's much more fragmented into, okay, what influencers should we be partnering with? What creators really align with our brand, which I know we'll talk more about. What brands do we want to selectively partner with? We just launched a first of its kind luxury collaboration with Kith in 2023, which did extremely well. So Bugaboo also has a long history of partnering with really unexpected brands. That was not a partnership. That was an organic um, placement opportunity that someone from the set just really loved the brand and included it within the props department. But yeah, it's still something that Bugaboo very much gets associated with.
Wow, an organic placement. Incredible. So, is that engineerable though? If you were to engineer a similar cultural breakthrough today, how would you approach it? Or is it not possible to do something like that?
I mean, I think that people's attention is just splintered, right? You're watching a show on Netflix and you're probably also scrolling on TikTok. And our attention is a bunch of different places. We're constantly being fed millions of different contents and sounds and videos. I think it's really hard to break through. I think consistency, authenticity, of course, is really what matters. I don't think that there's a breakthrough hit. Very selectively that you'll have really influential people who will be expecting, and the teams will reach out and would like to work with Bugaboo. Of course, that's always great for the brand, but I don't think that there's just we're just in a different world now where you have to just really be intentional and most of all consistent. I think it's not a one hit wonder sort of thing. You need to show up consistently with valuable content and valuable brand partners, and that will really cut through.
Janelle, you're the chief commercial officer at Bugaboo. Can you tell us your day to day? What do you do?
Well, not any day is the same. It really depends. Well, first of all, we're a European-based brand, so much of my work is starting off quite early with my European counterparts. So that means earlier meetings, which is great for me because I have young children that I try and get home and be home for bedtime. But a typical day looks like spending the first half of my day meeting with my European counterparts, our product innovation, our marketing teams, our supply chain teams. They all sit at headquarters, which is in Amsterdam. So being based here in New York, my day starts quite early, making sure that I'm aligning, socializing, partnering with all of my colleagues that are across the pond. After that, I tend to have one-on-ones with my direct team. So understanding what are the priorities, where do you need support, where do you need a guidance, what needs my input, what needs my approval. And I also, there's an element of my day where I really try and get out and travel the marketplace, visit our stores, visit our partners, um, even just go to Central Park and see how parents are moving, interacting with their strollers. I think any good business leader taking a step outside the office in your day to day and putting yourself where your consumer is. So for me, that means in the shops, in the museums, in the parks, in the playgrounds, and really making sure that you stay dialed in with the consumer and what are their problems that they're facing is an element of my job that I try and dedicate time for.
Well, you answered this question a little bit by talking about your Central Park visits, observing the parents, but I wanted to talk about product development. When creating premium parenting products, what's your process for identifying real pain points that need solving versus just adding fancy features?
Yeah, I think first and foremost, it begins with what is the problem that we're trying to solve? Most specifically, what are new parents, the next generation of parents asking for? So I'll give you an example. It all starts with an insight. And just last year, we went through this process where we were saying, okay, what are American parents asking for? This is one of our fastest growing regions, and what is the problem that we're looking to solve? And we do these consumer surveys where we ask new parents, what is most important to you? And we heard loud and clear that parents are looking for high quality strollers that will last them several years, more specifically, that will last them more than one child. So it's a big investment. It's a critical investment. It's one of the biggest purchases that you will make when you find out you're pregnant. You spend a lot of time researching, on average about 2 months before you make your decision. And we knew that there was a gap in our product portfolio in terms of offering a single to double stroller. Our product innovation team took this insight, worked incredibly hard, building off of the platform of one of our signature strollers. So it was a really familiar silhouette and design, and basically configured it to be a modular design. So it starts off as a newborn stroller, and then let's say however many plus years, number two, if you decide to grow your family comes along, you can very easily add a seat in the front. It was the very first stroller made with the US parent in mind. We launched it, unveiled it Q4 of last year. It did incredibly well, highest ever pre-orders, press coverage. And it all started with this very simple insight. American parents wanted a high quality stroller that would last them multiple children and that could go just like an insurance policy. You buy it for one, but just in case number two comes along, this stroller will also serve you. Our our standards internally in terms of our product innovation process, we have an incredibly talented team of designers, engineers, product managers that work on our products and test up to 7 times more durability, reliability, stability tests beyond industry standards. And so that's something that we're incredibly proud of, to make sure that our products are safe, trusted, high quality for parents everywhere around the world.
Jeanelle, you mentioned just in case the second one comes, parents
Yeah.
using strollers for multiple children over many years. So, and you talked about your product innovation, so that made me think, so Bugaboo is known for exceptional design and durability. So, how do you balance innovation with maintaining that legendary quality and longevity?
Well, there's elements of every stroller that we are known for and famous for. I would say the two that come up most consistently with consumer surveys are the drivability, the smooth ride, and the wheels. So that's really the constant between every innovation is the drive, and you can feel it when you go for a test drive and you push a Bugaboo and you push a competitor stroller. And if you don't believe me, you should go on a test drive yourself. We hear it all the time from new parents, from retail partners. But I would say, as a brand, when you think about your product DNA, what is it that consumers are playing back to you that they love about your product? And as you innovate and enhance and every time evolve every stage of your products, making sure that you still keep those elements as a constant red thread throughout every design.
Janelle, when you were talking about Sex and the City, you also mentioned the Kith collab. I thought that was such an interesting move. Can you walk us through how that partnership came together and what you learned about creating limited edition products in the parenting space?
Yeah, so Bugaboo has had a long history of selectively partnering with unexpected brands. So we've worked with Missoni, the Van Gogh Museum, for example, uh, Marc Jacobs. Through the years, we have released select collaborations and curated collections. We hadn't we hadn't done one for a while. How the Kith collaboration came out was really the brand reaching out and expressing interest in working with Bugaboo. And coming from the sneaker industry, Kith is of course so revered and iconic when it comes to um, luxury lifestyle. And one of the things that excited us most about this partnership was Kith's unparalleled quality and aesthetic, matching that with Bugaboo innovation and design, and really bringing together those two elements for a beautiful, never been seen before stroller collection. So we released a collection of strollers and also accessories that did incredibly well. And what I will say is that everyone here should follow all Bugaboo social handles for what's coming up next, because we have a few exciting things in the pipeline when it comes to collaborations over the next few years.
You mentioned that Bugaboo strollers often get passed down or resold after years of use. There's a secondary market for these, right? Does the existence of this secondary market influence like how you approach product design, or is that not relevant to you?
I think first and foremost, we are committed to high quality products and design that will last years and years. So just to give you an example of how rigorous our testing is when it comes to the longevity of our products. This came from a recent survey that we did specifically with North American parents, where we said, what are some of the benefits of a stroller that you're looking for, product features specifically. And one of the top things that came up, 76% of respondents said they're looking for a smooth ride. So you spent some time in New York City, you know that going over the sidewalks and the cracks and hopping cobblestones in Brooklyn. Um, this is very important. So our wheels are tested to drive across thousands of miles of mileage. So we test them to drive nonstop 3,000 miles. That's the same distance from New York City to Los Angeles. You could push a Bugaboo stroller before it shows any signs of wear and tear, which is, for me, amazing. I mean, some cars can't make it that far, but our strollers will if you're to drive them. So first and foremost, we have internal rigorous product testing to make sure that high quality and that longevity is there. Before sustainability was top of the conversation, Bugaboo has been sustainable because strollers can be passed on multiple children, and even once that mother is done having children, she'll say, I was able to actually give or sell my Bugaboo stroller to my sister, neighbor, cousin, and they use it for their 3 children, and it gets passed on and on and on. And even being in New York, I'm walking all the time, I see these strollers from 10 years ago still being pushed around. We have incredible service teams, product teams, our innovation teams to really make sure that this serves beyond the first-time parent.
You mentioned North American parents, so that made me think parents and their behaviors in different cultures, different countries. I had a little bit of a flashback to my previous startup. My first startup was the world's first concert subscription service, and we'd launched a dozen cities in the US, and then we had a London launch. I was thinking, well, it works and it was so good in New York and Los Angeles and London will be just like that. And I was just so surprised to see how different people were approaching their just concert going as a behavior. So I know you've worked across multiple countries and cultures. You were in Amsterdam before coming to New York. I'm curious about your observations. What's been the most interesting difference you've noticed in how parents approach products in the US market versus Europe, and how does that impact your, marketing strategy?
I think there are some fundamentals, and sort of at the foundation, we find that parents all around the world, when we run these surveys, the first thing that they care about in any country is safety, of course. Safety is the number one thing. I want to make sure that I have a safe stroller. Beyond that, we can see that there are drivers in some countries that index higher than others. So in North America, quality and value for your money index very high. So that's why developing this single to double stroller, the Bugaboo Kangaroo, was an important innovation that we wanted to introduce to North America. By the way, became so popular. Now it's scaling and being offered and growing in other markets as well. If you look at other markets where Bugaboo is leading, in Germany, for example, they're really interested in the features and the precision, and of course that is very typical to that culture, right? If you were to survey a parent in the UK or in Spain, spots 1, 2 are generally the same, but then after that, top 5, they can tend to shift a little bit. I think it depends on how urban your city is, whether you're a car parent or you are a city parent, how many children you plan on having, the makeup of your family. Do you live in an apartment or do you live in the suburbs? So all of these things are factors, but generally I think through time, every generation of parent parents around the world, they care about safety and quality. So those are really the highest on our list whenever we think about the development of our products.
The parenting product space is so crowded now. How do you cut through the
Mhm.
noise to reach new parents who have so many options available to them?
Well, Bugaboo has a long legacy, just having celebrated our 25th anniversary. And I think one of the distinctive elements of the brand is its superior innovation and design. And we have a brilliant team of product designers and engineers that sit in Amsterdam. So my my observation and my advice is to focus on what are your super strengths. I always tell my team it's good to be aware, but don't get distracted. And as long as you put the consumer at the center and you focus on what as a brand are you famous for, what do consumers tell you, this is what I love about your brand, you focus in on that and you'll always do the right thing. So from a Bugaboo standpoint, we are always talking about our product USPs, the drivability, the design, the innovation, and most recently, our commitment to really be the first in our industry to set net zero targets by 2035. So what does this mean? This means that we're committed to reducing our emissions close to zero without offsetting them. So this is everything from our bio-based plastics to the type of material, our soft goods, how our products are shipped around the world. Every element of our supply chain, we're really looking at. Um, okay, are we making decisions that are good for the next generation of parents? And this is really um, leading in our industry because it's such a tactile and durable product as well. I'm really proud of that work that our team has done.
Janelle, you've talked about this incredible word of mouth effect where people proudly identify as Bugaboo moms years later. How do you make that a thing? Every brand would love to make that happen for themselves. You know, their brand
Yeah,
name and the people kind of like identify as that.
yeah,
How does that work? How do you build that community feeling?
yeah. So that's one of the best parts of my job, Bora. I live in New York City. I'll be at a dinner party and I'll meet someone. They find out, okay, I work at Bugaboo, and they'll say, "Oh my gosh, I was a Bugaboo mom. I loved my Bugaboo stroller. I had the chameleon, or I had the fox, or I had the donkey, and I pushed it for all three of my kids, and then I gave it to my sister, friend, neighbor, cousin." But this mom, her children are 18, 15, and 13. She is long past the stroller stage, but she remembers how significant that stroller was for her in that stage of her life. And I think that that's really special. And I always tell my team, we are not in the stroller business. That is actually the product that we sell, but we are in the business of helping new parents feel confident in this really unknown stage of their life. And if you can even think back to when you first became a parent, it's so many unknowns. Me too. But the times where I felt a little bit more like myself was when I was going for a walk and I could feel the sun and I had the fresh air. I felt like it was good for my baby. I felt like it was good for me. And those are the memories that I cling to. And then that feeling and resonance is what we try and translate into marketing and into our campaigns, into the type of content we develop, the type of brands that we try and partner with. The underlying is how do we communicate that this that we are a brand that will help you feel confident in this next and new stage of your life. And i and I think because you marry that storytelling with our incredible products, and then you get that ambassadorship that lasts years. The parent is now a parent of teenagers and they're still talking about their stroller with so much fondness and gratitude. It feels it's really incredible to be a part of a brand that gets to play that role in someone's life.
You mentioned creator collabs earlier. I'd love to hear about your approach to working with creators. I know you're very picky about it. How do you identify the right creators to work with for a premium brand like Bugaboo? What do you look for the creators who are watching and listening?
Yeah, so about 3 years ago, we really made a shift in our strategy to be a community led brand. That meant specifically that we were doubling down on organic social content, the amount of volume that we would create, the consistency that we would post, the types of formats that we would try. And as a result of that, as a brand, now there are tools here that are helping you get more efficient in creating content, editing, and getting quicker and faster. But as a brand, you can only create yourself and fill your bank with so much brand generated content that we knew that we wanted to selectively partner with creators to supplement all of our brand content and campaign imagery and videos shot by our own social team with UGC. So we started partnering and reaching out with creators that were either announcing that they were pregnant or that we felt, okay, their aesthetic and their style. Also being a premium stroller brand, there's a certain a style and lifestyle component that we really try and align with. So it's a delicate balance though, because while we are a very physical and features driven brand, we also want to marry that with aesthetic and lifestyle. So it's a combination. I would say first and foremost, making sure that it's an authentic and genuine partnership. Does this creator have the same values, commitments to the future? They're they're working with other responsible brands, and then how do they shoot? What is their style, their aesthetic, their lighting, their everything around the product? Does it align with how our brand creates? Because you don't want to work with a creator where they have a completely different look and feel that's very unique to them, and then you try and change that. The consumer will pick up on that really quickly. So we try and find those sort of natural, organic similarities between the look and feel of the Bugaboo brand. And then usually it's just a very natural, hi, congratulations on your pregnancy. We would love to talk more about you, talk more with you. Have you made a stroller decision? And it just really builds from there. And then we keep in contact with them. The initial purchase is or the initial step is the stroller, the newborn stroller, but then we also offer incredible adjacent categories. So when the baby is 6 months old, congratulations, you've reached this milestone. The baby's starting to eat solids. We have the Bugaboo giraffe, which is a beautifully made wooden high chair. Would you like to try it? And then also we have a playpen, the Bugaboo Stardust. We see that you're traveling, and so it sort of just builds because we have these products that serve a continuation of their life as their baby grows. We can grow right alongside them.
Janelle, my final question. Top two problems giving you a headache right now, and top two priorities you're excited about for the year.
So I will say, any product-based company at the moment is trying to figure out supply chain. That's a very real. Okay, so how are we forecasting accurately to meet demand? So I think that is one that's certainly keeping me up at night. Any supply chain different scenarios that we're trying to map. And I would say the second thing is because we have really connected through our consumer and meeting them where they are, which is on social media, how do we just continue to keep up with the volume and the same consistency that we've maintained over the last 3-4 years when it comes to content production and just remaining connected and in the flow of the consumer and social trends, and continuing to find and partner with the right people. So those are probably the two biggest things. And then two things that I'm really focused on and excited about. So team will always be at the top of my list. The team, how is the team feeling? Building the culture of Bugaboo where the team feels engaged and united and excited and ready. So team is first and foremost a priority. That is the foundation in which the house is built. So, team. And then the second thing is I'm really excited for what's coming up next. We have an exciting roadmap pipeline in the coming year. So I would really recommend your audience to follow Bugaboo Strollers, Bugaboo USA, Bugaboo USA. Follow Bugaboo USA to see what's next. And yeah, it's going to be a really busy year in 2025. So I'm quite excited for what's to come.
Jeanelle Teves, thank you for sharing your journey with me.
Thank you so much for having me, Bora. It's been a pleasure.